I can already feel Durthu forgoing diplomacy and attacking all of our allies. But I suppose I can't blame him. Anyway, RuinusInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new modded Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. SFO Grimhammer 3 Orion. Though he's going to look a bit different in game than he does here, as by popular demand, we will be using the Eternal Wood Elves reskin mod, which makes Orion look just so much better. Now, I did decide to go for Immortal Empires and not the Old World mod for this one. I just think it will make for a better campaign, and I'll leave a comment down below with my reasons as to why. Also, real quick, engagement determines scheduling, so don't forget to drop your likes and comments down below, and if you want to support the channel and get access to perks, consider joining our Patreon or becoming a channel member. Shoutouts to the modders, shoutouts to you guys. Let's take a quick look at the faction. Now, Orion's buffs, personal lord buffs, aren't really anything crazy. Guardian, so 15% physical resistance when with aerial, and basically a bunch of stuff to buff his cav. A bit of charge, a bit of weapon strength, a bit of speed, and a bit of vigor loss reduction. What makes Orion crazy is his faction buff. 2% and 1% upkeep reduction for him and his armies, respectively, for every single active war. And this gives us the opportunity to be even more of a maniac than Durthu. On top of that, he gets an improved world route stance, which allows him to travel 50% further, plus a couple of unique units, which we'll check out when we're in game. And of course, we have the periodic wild hunt, his whole theme, which gives us a bunch of buffs, but we'll see that in game as well, because they are not listed here. As for the settings, we're going with very hard, as I find that to be the sweet spot, and the AI stats modifier dialed up all the way to the max, which is pretty much everything I gotta say, so I'll glory to the algorithm, and let's get to it.
Let them face the rage of the forest!
Alrighty, the rage of the forest indeed, embodied as it is by Orion garbed in his panoply of war. Look at his model. I think with this reskin mod, Orion at the very least looks about 1,000 times better than his vanilla variant. I've never been particularly fond of the vanilla version of Orion. He could really use the little bit of extra armor that we've got here. The helmet with the antlers, the vambraces and whatnot, but still leaving at least some parts uncovered, still keeping to that wood elf wild and neutral aesthetic. I love it. Looks very, very good. And of course, Orion will not be the only one. There are plenty of units like Mr. Dodan the Waystalker, which are changed completely as well in terms of how they look, and we'll check them all out as we go. As for the Waystalker, I actually do like the vanilla version of the Waystalker. It's a lot more muted, a lot more subtle with its armor, but this looks pretty darn fantastic. And more warlike as well. Plus, it's still keeping with that aesthetic. The armor sort of looks like golden bark there, and it's really working for me as well here. I can't wait to see how you look, or how the rest of the units look as well. Also, you have Big Game Hunter range plus 50% and bonus versus large, but I take it that's only for melee. Yeah, it's only for melee. Nonetheless, plus 50% range, you should still certainly be helpful. Anyway, I should probably stop getting distracted by the units for now. For those unfamiliar with the Wood Elves, just real quick how they play. So, we can raise the heathlands around any magical forest territory, including the Oak of Ages, which will essentially enable us to power them up and gain various buffs associated with the healthy magical forests. Once they reach the max, we are able to pop a ritual of rebirth, which will give us the buffs, but also reward us with amber, and we can use said amber to unlock various powerful technologies. The very first of the ritual of rebirths that we perform, not the Oak of Ages one, because that's our campaign goal and is dependent on all the other trees, but the very first of the other rituals of rebirth will unlock Ariel for us, the queen of the Wood Elves, and a very very, very powerful spellcaster, a legendary hero, not on par, sort of not on the level of Lord Croak, maybe, but let's face it, Lord Croak is so ridiculously broken that nobody is. Anyway, in addition to that, we have access to the World Roots and Deep Woods. Mission, engage the enemy, yes. World Roots and Deep Woods. The World Roots are the stance that allows us to bypass obstacles, and Orion's special variant, as we can see, allows him to travel significantly further than his normal movement range is anyway, which is really quite nice. And then the Deep Roots allow us to essentially travel from magical forest to magical forest, with the cooldown essentially reduced to 0 while the Wild Hunt is up and running, which is going to be pretty darn interesting and pretty darn useful for us. In fact, this World Roots thing will be of greater use than simply going to conquer these things, which I will get into later when we actually have access to the system, which will... Okay, there we go. I thought that was stuck. Well, you will get access to the system on turn 10, so more on that later. For now, though, I think we got to jump in to our first battle and check out how all of our units look, and just how obnoxious our 3 units of Wild Riders are going to be. Anyway, Cassien de Paravent. You will be our first target. I probably could have checked out diplomacy, but you know what? I'm too excited. Before we jump in quickly, the first battle, or for those unfamiliar with the channel or the way we do things around here, the first battle is always a cinematic battle, and I mean, generally I do mostly cinematic battles, except for those that are really, really easy. First battle is always super easy, but it also traditionally has to be cinematic, so away we go.
Athel Loren!
Alrighty, here we go. Once again, Orion looking pretty great, but let's take a look at all the other things that we've got. First of all, the Deepwood Scouts. Now, it does seem that this particular reskin mod sort of trends towards up-armoring everything. This feels like it might be a little bit on the too heavy side for the Deepwood Scouts, who only have 15 armor to their name, because this does not look like 15 armor. The 40 armor of the Eternal Guard warrants a little bit more in the way of plate, and damn, these guys look pretty darn heavy. Though, to be fair, in the late game, I'm sure we'll have many a buff that will give us additional armor upgrades to various units, and thus these guys will look a little bit more appropriate, armored as they are. And that said, they do look great, even if the armor doesn't quite match what they've got as stats. We also have, of course, the Wild Riders. Let's take a brief look at them and see how their armor has changed. Alright, it does look like we got a lot of matching aesthetics as well, so pretty darn solid. We'll see these guys in action shortly, but for now, the battle begins with us attacking this enemy unit of Knights of the Realm. We've knocked a fair few out, gonna get to the ability off with, I forget if it's Arrows of Ruinous or whatever it is. Ox Talon, okay, Arrow of Ruinous is the magic missile one. And there we go, Wild Riders charging into those poor Knights of the Realm, smashing into their sides and dishing out massive amounts of damage, even as they were already hurt, and due to our units hosing them down with arrows. In the meantime, this poor unit of Peasant Bows will have the other unit of Wild Riders charge on in, while yet another unit of Wild Riders smashes into the back line of enemy peasants. And I'm sure sends many a peasant flying, as we are happy to do so, and to fight in the woods. And while we're at it, Hammer and Anvil with the Eternal Guard holding the peasants in line, or holding the peasants in place, or rather pinning them in place. That's the word I was looking for. While the Wild Riders again smash into their backs. The balance of power shifts to about 90% in our favor. Orion currently in a bit of a fight with the enemy enemy lord here, though we're getting a little bit of help from the Wild Riders as well. And damn if Orion isn't huge, towering over the Wild Riders as well, but matching their antler helmets nicely, or actually matching the antlers of their mounts nicely. Anyway, the enemy lord down below half HP. Looks like this unit of men-at-arms will book it on out there, having fought the heavily looking armored Eternal Guard. The enemy lord with a sliver of HP remaining will be brought down by the Wild Riders. And with that, the first battle of the campaign will be ours. We don't technically need to chase here, but we'll chase just a teensy bit, and because we can, just in case this gives us a little bit bigger reward for this particular fight. Alrighty, there we go. We absolutely crushed our first enemies, and what's more important is we looked good doing it. So once again, thank you guys for the suggestion for this particular graphical mod. And and so it looks like the Wood Elves have some actually useful post-battle options. Kill Captives gives us a bunch of buffs, including campaign movement range. Abduct Captives gives us healing, which I'm willing to wager is going to be pretty important, as I think we don't have access to replenish troops until we get to branch rates, which are, I want to say, tier 2 or 3. I don't remember. So it'll take a while to get them, or take a bit. And then Release Captives obviously gives us money. Now, we obviously didn't take all that much in the way of damage, so we're going to release said captives. An enchanted shield for us, engage the enemy complete, and a little bit of cash for our trouble. Nice. Let's check our Diplo. Vidrioth is not at war with anybody, so we can't join war against anybody there. I do wonder if there's anybody we should declare war on immediately. I guess we could wait for a turn. I'd like to declare war on whoever Durthu is fighting. I guess it'll be Carrick Norn here, but unfortunately we can't do so until we are actually in range of Durthu, which I guess will be when we hit Quinnell. We should, however, probably... oh yeah, Branch Wraith is a tier 3. Yeah, okay, we'll need to be careful about not taking too much damage in the early game, or at least getting some heals up and running. Let's get the Glade Guard hide, so if we can get the Glade Guard with the Hagbane tips and Starfire shafts up and running, I don't want to waste money building the regular Glade Guard in the early game. And if I'm recalling correctly, we would like to go for Craftsman's Tree, because while it only gives us half of the amount of growth as the Trapper's Den does, it also gives us 4 control, and as we can see, our control is negative. So, Craftsman's Tree it is. Now, we probably will want to recruit some units at Kingsglade. Actually, 2 things we want to do. First of all, let's just take a look at what we have here. It's only for Regiments of Renown. Actually, it's not that great. And charge bonus plus 50% during forest battles for the army. Kind of mad on you. What do we have here? Thorned Majesty, leadership -5, but we gain a vigor loss reduction, which ain't too bad. Vigor loss is very strong in campaign movement range for Fey Broker. Nothing crazy there. We got Annoyance of Netlings. Just kind of okay. I don't remember the name, but there's a mini Mortis Engine effect on one of these for the Treemen, so that's definitely the one that we want. Although the Annoyance of Netlings is pretty solid as well. Easier chasing of enemies due to the campaign movement range reduction, a little bit of HP, but obviously I'd rather have the Mortis Engine effect. That said, Ancient Oakheart with the enemy leadership -2 and the Blight of Terrors can be stacked quite nicely with other leadership debuffs. Now, we have here Jade Amulet, Winds of Magic Power Reserve when casting, that could be solid. And this one is just character aura leadership. I'm not so sure I care about that. Targeting range plus 100% for spells, that's very nice. And magic item drop chance and spells. Okay, yeah. Lore Keeper of Luminath, we could probably use one of those as a Life Lord. Speed plus 15% for army, but at the end, wins a magic power reserve cost, pretty solid. This is ward save plus 10% for ward for entire army, but at the cost of a cooldown to all spells, though if we have another caster in the army, this probably wouldn't be as relevant. Warden of the Weald. Huh. Growth plus 30 for province, and battle healing cap. Oh, that would actually be quite nice on a Lore of Life one. Enemy ward save minus 10%. Yeah, we got some good stuff here. That's some good stuff indeed. And hello, Spiritwood Sage has casualty punishment rate and a bound Earthblood. Yeah. I'm thinking that what we should do is we should get a Warden of the Weald with that growth and use you as a recruiter. Because we're going to need to recruit anyway. Although I guess, wait, are we able to? Yeah, we are able to start with Eternal Guard immediately. Alright, so, I guess we'll do that immediately then. Let's get to you. Warden of the Weald with that growth, which bumps it up to 50 here, which, well, it was 20 before. Now, we could uncollect the income, but with the Wood Elves in particular, we need a lot of money to upgrade our Glade, and so we're going to have to start saving up for it. And the same thing goes with the Oak of Ages, which at Tier 2 does unlock the Confederation mission for both Torgavan and Vidrioth, which we certainly want to do as early as possible. Let's get the Eternal Guard up and running, say 3. And down to 2 money. Alright, well, there goes that. Oh, we could probably... okay, I guess it's this one. Master of Supplies. Pop you there. That will reduce the... well, it won't actually do anything, but it will enable them to be a little bit more powerful. And this is basically what this army will consist of for now. And does income from post-battle loot for own our characters in region, so if that does go to Orion as well, that will be useful as well, though we will have to get Orion a Lore of Life user, probably the Sylvan Soothsayer. Unless we wait for a different one. I do like the power recharge rate, though. I'll think about it. The healing cap is also quite nice. But I suppose if it's for the Lord's army, then it won't be... well, we'll see. Okay, so... while Orion looks great, and the Waystalker looks great, and most of the units look pretty fantastic as well, I think the Spellweavers are the only ones that I don't like, because, I don't know, this kind of just looks like a human mage to me. It's kind of meh. Not a big deal, however. And I also want to point out that the Spellweavers do look different depending on which one you get. So it is random, and not all of them look like this. Some of them look a lot more Wood Elfy than that one. I think that's the only one that is disappointing. Otherwise, we're great. Forest Skulls is actually quite strong. Overzealous attack, base weapon damage, armor-piercing weapon damage, and reload skill. Yes, at the cost of 25% vigor, which is also significant. Especially in SFO, but nonetheless. Anyway, to Quinel we shall go. We've got a giant pile of peasants here. I think we'll manually fight this real quick. And just so that we don't suffer too much attrition and... or too much auto-resolve damage, at least until we get a few more troops in Orion's army. As I expect, since we'll need to transfer the troops out of the recruiter's army, it'll be a while until Orion gets his retrofit. Or maybe not even retrofit, but just, you know, additional units. Enemies deployed its range units on these sides. Big mistake. Big mistake, AI. Let's do this. You will immediately charge them. You will loop around. You will charge them immediately. Go to the side so that they can't fire it. Well, actually, you don't have much of a choice. That's fine. Alright, Orion, up front. You up front. You guys cannot Vanguard deploy, so you're going to have to move towards Orion and co. Oh, I suppose if we... wait. I guess do something like that. Alright, Orion, maybe forward so that you can pop the Hounds of Cronus. Alright, you can be group 2, and I think the rest of that is fine. Go, go, go. Start battle, and start battle. Charge that. Couple charges. into those poor peasants. We'll see many a peasant defeated. Let's pop the Hounds of Ruinous. Alright, charge on in to shout the damage. Orion, you can back off a little bit. Wait until the peasant bowmen are out, and then back off. And you... well, I guess you can help out. In fact, you could chase him down while you can ignore the spearmen at arms. Go after the peasant mobs. You guys move forward a little bit. You can back off. I don't remember whether you needed levels or not, but I suppose it's also not super important. Alright, you can back off now. Stop taking damage. Just had to make sure that those peasant bows were dead, and just like to see this charge right through the peasants. There we go. Alrighty. And try not to get bogged down fighting the other units. Alright, charge this peasant mob. The archers are done for and have shattered. You charge into the archers again, but once again don't get bogged down. Orion, keep on firing. There's no need to march forward while we're doing so much damage with our wild riders. Alrighty, and charge forward, and you charge forward as well. Why the heck not? There we go, flying peasants. I mean, we got some incredible charges in our Bretonnia campaign. It's only fair that Bretonians now also take some incredible charges as well, which I'm willing to bet we're going to get a lot of in the Wood Elves campaign. Wild Riders centric as Orion tends to be. All right, these guys are all out. We just keep the melee units standing there. I'll speed it up a little bit. It's obviously just a tiny battle, and I just don't want to suffer attrition, which is why we're manually fighting it. Anyway, you guys can move in. You guys can go into melee. You can turn off your auto fire. I think the Wild Riders should be able to clear most of the rest of this out. Charge into... well, the enemy leader is a peasant mob. Well, that's not so great. Probably won't make for a particularly good leader. Alright, Cav is good, and it looks like the enemy will shatter, and with that, the battle will be ours. Easy. Easy, and this way we suffered little attrition or little damage. You took a little bit of damage. Was it just from fighting the men-at-arms, or was it perhaps from taking shots from your allies? It's a distinct possibility as well. Yeah, this is a settlement battle, so we don't need to chase. Might actually get more rewards if we did, but whatever, all good. Alrighty, and damn, 466 kills, 43k damage, and, well, of course it's a little bit inflated because we're fighting droves of peasants. It's a little different from fighting droves of, I don't know, goblins or Skaven slaves. Although a pretty decent likelihood that we'll be fighting both of those shortly, as Scryer and the Broken Axe are both beside us. A little bit of cash, we will occupy the heathland here, which will give us +1 per turn forest health and a little bit of money. And the reason that we want to occupy Quenelle is twofold. One, we want to build the cattle pastures, but mainly there is a landmark at Paravon, the Peaks of Paravon, which gives us +4 capacity for Hawk Riders and faction-wide reduction for Great Eagles and Hawks. We saw Erathon the Silver and Talon use Eagles to pretty insane effect in the Imric campaign, and I do expect that we'll get some good Eagle and Hawk Rider action in this campaign as well. Especially since Hawk Riders are insane in SFO. You, sir. I'm gonna start with ever-reaching tendrils for that campaign movement range, and yeah, look at how bad the healing is. 6 units per turn. We lost a sliver of HP here. And that sliver of HP still won't heal on 1 turn.
I thirst for the hunt.
And we do have perenniality here, which gives us +15% casualty replenishment rate as well. I'm pretty sure Ariel gives us campaign range. Yes, okay, you know what? We'll probably go through Wonders of the Forest and come from post-battle loot in order to try to get to perenniality and Quartermaster. And maybe Home Amongst the Boughs. I don't know whether we have room in Orion's tree, because he has a lot of stuff. As in whether we have spare skill points, but we'll see. Obvious choice for Dodan is going to be the Arrow of Ruinous to, well, annoy the enemy quite a bit, as these have grown quite a bit more powerful of late. And I believe that's that. Too bad we can't quite afford the cattle pastures, but we should be able to do so next turn. Technology, Moriheg the Crone, the only god in the Elven Pantheon who is neither Kadai or a Sithari, +1 control. Oh, it's the only option, and that is control. Can't say no to that. Diplomacy check, real quick. Vidrioth, 65. Yeah, we could do 65, why not? The earlier we do that, the better. Carcassonne is currently fighting the Red Cloud. Would you do a trade agreement if we declared war on them? Yes, you would. Well, then we'll do it. They'll probably be destroyed within the turn, so that shouldn't be of concern. And we will most likely declare war on many another faction, but we can wait a turn or two to do it. Alright, building upgrade. Oh, that actually gave us enough money to be able to build this. Yeah, sure, why not do it? And I believe that's all we can do now. Which means now we do end the turn, unless we want to start leveling another Spellweaver to follow, well, which we probably did, but we don't have the money for now anyway, so we won't. We'll keep an eye out on the other lords, and I'll try to remember that Spellweaver Deluric here is going to be our recruiter. We should probably send her to level up a little bit so that she can recruit, assuming that we even have a recruitment reduction available to us. We should check the blue line, because if we don't, then she's not going to be nearly as useful, except for growth. SFO at the start gives you the option of taking a couple things. Usually I take the time of maneuvers, and just because a little bit of extra movement range for the early game is swell. And the earlier we sort of start getting to new places, the earlier we start growing them, and the earlier hopefully we get access to fancy new units, which, well, you really want, especially since growth in SFO is slowed down considerably. So, time of maneuvers. Faction destroyed Red Cloud. I guess it was indeed the right choice, and as a forest encounter. Alright. 3 turns, eh? Orion could reach it in 2, but we'd have to bypass Paravon, which frankly we can't reach anyway. Guess we could get back here. We're not technically at war with Broken Axe, so we can get back to them after. Alright, that's fine. Should we give this a read? We should give this a read. I'm a sucker for these. Responding to the monstrous war cries of a bloodthirsty beast lord, a braying horde of beastmen has been spotted slowly amassing at the edge of the forest. There may be no rhyme or reason for them to congregate in such a manner, but their intentions are predictably destructive. It would be wise to bring them to battle before they reach full strength and start attacking the glades. We'll see. We'll see if we can make it there. If we can make it there, we'll make it anyway. Anyway, so we can't get Paravon, which means I guess we're going to go into raiding stance. We're going to go right out here. Array to detain Seabed and attack it next turn. Makes sense to me. You, Deluric, will recruit a couple Hagbane tips, and that's all we can do in that. Alright, it is what it is. And Aquitaine, you will probably die within the next turn or so. Torgavon wants to be friends. Arguelon, yes. Okay, wait. We need to do all this. Non-aggression pact with Torgavon, yes. Then, non-aggression pact with Durthu. Join war against Carrick Norn. I was hoping he'd trade, but that's fine. More wars, less upkeep. It's all good. And since Aquitaine will probably be destroyed next turn or so by the Broken Axe, we should get as much money from them as we can. Don't even bother trading since they'll be dead anyway. And we could use the cash for more recruitment. Alright, anything else interesting? I don't see it. These guys are immediately willing to peace out, that's kind of hilarious. And so are these guys, but we can't leave them the peaks of Paravon. Is there anybody here that we could declare war on? Broken Nose will most likely get destroyed by Clan Angrand. Clan Angrand is presumably going to be disliked by all the other elves. I wonder how much money they'd give us for declaring war on the Broken Nose. 500. Probably not worth it pissing off the other elves. I think we could just declare war on the Broken Nose directly, since they'll be dead anyway. Declare war. I'll probably declare war on Clan Angrand shortly. Just gotta make sure that we got defenses up and running here, because our garrisons are kinda trash, at least at the start. The rest of this looks fine. We'll probably also declare war on the war herd of the Shadowgate, but that is a story for another time. Deluric, back to you, Kent. Go for the Glade Guard with Hagbane tips, and end the turn as we head to Paravon next turn. They'll get a little bit in the way of defenses up and running, I'm sure, as they are recruiting. I assume that they cannot recruit anything other than peasants, however. And oh, looks like they don't even want to defend it. Makes sense, I suppose, now. Oh, they will come in as a reinforcement. Well, that's real interesting. Alright, sure, works for me. Hardly matters. Alright, and close victory, medium casualties. We will not be auto-resolving this, and I do believe this will be our first cinematic siege. Let's get to it.
Winter comes to all.
Alrighty, here we go. This battle much more visible by the looks of it in terms of lighting than the first fight was, so we'll hopefully get a decent bit of action out of Orion. Looks like the gunners or the artillery crew of the enemy trebuchet and do manage to kill off a few of their own peasant bow archers as they were trying to hit the waystalker down there. Now the enemy does have a tiny amount of reinforcements coming in, a couple of yeomen, both the archers and just the regular yeomen, as well as a damsel or prophetess, or rather by the looks of it, but we are ready for the reinforcements, waiting in the woods where they can't see us, and ready to charge in and obliterate those poor peasant horses. Alrighty, they attempt to charge through the woods only to meet the spears of the Eternal Guard and be locked in place where they are. The enemy will hit us back with an awakening of the wood, but the Wild Riders quickly ride into the back of the enemy yeomen, who will be obliterated with these, I'm sure. Same thing goes for the enemy archers. There's no escaping the Wild Riders with their bonkers 132 speed. So they'll chase the poor yeomen down, who are already shattered and pretty much destroyed, and down to a single man. Beautiful. And well done putting them in place to the Eternal Guard, of course, as well. And there is only the enemy prophetess remaining. She will take a few hits from our Deepwood scouts before the rest of the Wild Riders charge on in. And once again, damn, they move fast. And just dish out a tiny bit of damage, or at the very least enough damage to send her off the map. There we go. Victory is in our grasp, indeed it is, but we have not yet made it through the enemy walls or through the enemy gates as yet. We have gotten plenty of kills, however, as we do have the Hounds of Kurnus ability on Orion, which is essentially Gehenna's Golden Hounds, but cast for free and without a casting time as well, so it can be pretty clutch and used whenever needed. Now, let's see. I don't remember whether we have 2 or 3 uses out of it, but, well, clearly, plenty of use already. 293 kills, 33k damage. Anyway, Orion and the Waystalker have broken through the gate, and it's time to chuck a few spears at the enemy and shoot a few arrows as well. Just that one peasant getting hit by Orion's spear. That's kind of hilarious. The fact that it doesn't have enough splash to kill off a bunch of them, or at least didn't look like it there, but it's also like, screw this guy in particular. Alright, Orion, you willing to do that again? I want to see this. Where are you going to check that one? And okay, I think that one is going to go for... Huh. Wait, did that guy die before the spear arrived? Or was that guy dead from something else? That was kind of curious. And we have another spear coming in, maybe, before these guys get away. I see more arrows flying in, but that's an arrow from the Waystalker, but indecently accurate at that. So I'm happy with that. There's Orion's spear, and it's a big old, projectile. Does look like, oh, ooh, look like that one knocked 4 knights down. A very nice spear throw, much more effective than against the peasants, surprisingly enough. Alright, Well, happy with that. Check a few more spears. The gate is a pretty good position for these two by the looks of it, as the enemy did not go for them. Now, there are still plenty of units to fight in here, but with the gate broken, we should be able to get the Wild Riders into the fight rather shortly. Gonna activate the arrows of Ruinous from Dodan, our Waystalker, and we do still have the second use of Hawk's Talon available should we get surrounded by the enemy. Our Wild Riders should be moving forward and trying to charge towards the gate, though I'm sure they'll take a couple of hits from the enemy towers. They are so incredibly quick, and they shouldn't be able to do too much. And the enemy lord here, a paladin, has made their way forward and is now fighting Orion, but he's fighting Orion outside of the gate. The breach is not blocked, and the Wild Riders stream on in to the enemy settlement. There we go, a little bit of cavalry on cavalry action, as is appropriate when fighting Bretonia here. We've already fought some yeomen, of course, so we know that these guys will go down quick, but there are knights errant with them as well. And the knights errant have quite a few numbers to them as well, 80 units, or they had 80 units, and not so much anymore. And not such a great contest against the Wild Riders here. We do lose a few. Gotta remember that the Wild Riders are still a fairly fragile unit, and they are getting hit by this tier 4 magic tower as well. Looks like the Hawk's Talon will come down once more into the pile of enemy men-at-arms, while all 3 of our units of Wild Riders together will charge towards the enemy Knights of the Realm, by the way. Not Knights of the Realm, Knights Errant. Another unit of Knights Errant. Alright, well, good for them for having so many Knights Errant, but I'm sure they won't have them for too much longer. The bounce power shifts to about 90% in our favor. Orion still holding off those units of men-at-arms and fighting the Paladin at the same time. And by the looks of it, is pretty solid in melee. 65-45. His melee defense is a little bit low, but, well, that'll change once we actually start putting points into his fighty tree. Alright, and here come the Wild Riders yet again. With all that charge bonus and all that speed that they have, they are great for cycle charging. Charge one thing, back away, charge another thing, and just bounce around in between the enemies. And rack up pretty solid kill counts and damage counts, I'm sure, as well. Enemy Lord now, well, still eager. Winded, but still eager. Orion very tired, but still very much in the fight. And it looks like, what, the enemy has reached his healing cap? And just a matter of charging through those men-at-arms with our, through our Wild Riders until the enemy is done for, or until the enemy just shatters. There's another reason that we're bouncing around so much with the Wild Riders as well, and it's because that tier 4 tower is still firing at us. And there we go, one more bloody hit from Orion sends many a men-at-arms flying. The enemy Paladin will shatter, and with him, the rest of the defenders as well. There we go. Very nice, very nice. We could have actually probably outrun the entire enemy army, should we have desired to do so, once the gate was down, and just gone directly for the enemy citadel. Most likely the enemy cav would have been able to reach us there, but it's not like the enemy had any Grail Guardians or Pegasus Knights or anything like that, so nothing that would have threatened our Wild Riders directly. Certainly a thought for when next we fight a siege battle in this same map, or just in general. And just potential to capture the enemy main point if we don't want to capture it by killing everything. Alrighty, there we go. Certainly a bit of effort and certainly a bit of damage as well, but at the end of the day, once the Wild Riders are past your walls, you're pretty much screwed. Plenty of damage on Orion, 438 kills and 52k damage. Those Hounds of Orion, Gehenna's Golden Hounds equivalent, certainly obliterating piles and piles of the enemy, I wanted to say Skaven slaves again, of the enemy peasants. And we can take Paravent for ourselves and get a free Forest Spirit. We'll take it. And a free Volzanvil Smith, we'll also take it. And a free Potion of Foolhardiness. Hunting Hound, maybe against the Orcs. Young Stag, sure, why not? Province Secured, Forest of Chalon, and Paravent destroyed. Forest of Chalon will immediately get the Peaks of Paravent up and running. Can we... it unlocks immediately the recruitment of the Great Forest Eagles and Hawk Riders. Well, that's fantastic. We'll put those to good use ASAP. And I guess we can collect the income here for a little bit as well. Well, you may not be the... How many turns would it take to get us here? We should probably go back there. Yeah, we should be able to get back and then trade all of this to Orion. So I think that'll work. So, Glade Guard here. We'll build you. Got a nice mix of units. He needs 11 right now. This will be 10. Alright, so we'll build a couple more and then we'll be good. Of some kind. And unassign skill points and end the turn. I actually don't remember whether there was something else that we should have done, but whatever, all good. Whatever it may be, we'll do it next turn. I just gotta keep an eye out on the Broken Axe. I do think we do need to destroy the Broken Axe so that we don't have to deal with them destroying Bretonnia, as we have other magical forests to conquer in the meantime. Forest invasion imminent, that's fine. Or if not fine, we'll deal with it. And oh, I can only go into Volzanvil, but we don't have the military access there. Oh, that's unfortunate. But what can you do? Also can't seem to do any kind of diplo with anybody. Could declare war on these two. Wait, join war. Warheard of the One-Eye Blackpit tribe. Get a trade agreement with Carl. As well as 2 more wars, which were inevitable anyway. Why not? In fact, while we're doing that, let's take a look at Diplo real quick. And no, not quick deal, the regular Diplo. And see who we might want to declare war on otherwise, that we have not already. Ziflin's too close to us. I think we don't want to declare war on them yet, and then the same with Warherd of the Shadowgate. But anybody who's really distant, we do. That bumps us up to about 2,000 gold per turn, which ain't too bad. Alrighty. Well, I guess we send you to Quesnel, and then we jump out of Quesnel rather than trespassing in Volzanvil. I think still probably the way to do it. Let's go. I didn't actually mean to use the World Root stance there, but oh well. We'll also probably want to keep checking on all of these guys. I think they haven't been replaced yet. That's alright. Still kind of tempted by that Jade Amulet one to get healing for Orion's army, but for now we'll be okay. We need to save up an insane amount of money after all. So, Garrison Lord, etc., we will... Oh, that was the end of that turn, meaning we can still recruit a teensy bit should we desire to do so. So we're at 10, -1, so we actually need to recruit 2 more, which means you and you. Alright, that'll be good. For a while, and then obviously we'll transfer all of the Glade Guard out of Orion's army once we transfer them to a Glade Guard-centric army afterwards. Alright, how has Aquitaine been destroyed? Can we start moving towards Grom the Potch? We'll probably want to assault the massive Forcal and before it gets significantly more powerful. And let's see what kind of army we got popping up out of here. Alright, Daran, okay, we can't see. Aquitaine destroyed, meaning these guys will probably turn on us shortly, meaning we have to deal with them. Alright, now, Orion, I would like you to go to Deluric. Here. Or right at the edge of this territory, so that you get a little bit more in the way of movement range, right there. And then Deluric, I would like you to transfer to Orion every little thing. There we go, and then go back into the tree. Okay. Double checking. Still have the Sylvan Soothsayer. Is the Jade Amulet worth it? I mean, it is power reserves per second with every cast, but it's probably nothing crazy. I'm still kind of holding out hope that we could get a either a Spiritwood Sage or maybe the one that's with Battle Healing Cap, another Warden of the Weald, but for a Spellweaver of Life, because then we could use her as a leader of an army. With only Sylvan Soothsayer, it's not going to be quite as good. I think we'll hold off for now. Alright, technologies. Although we don't have a caster with us, but anyway. Technologies, what do we have? Income from raising settlements versus income from crafting and a little bit of armor for elf infantry, which does include the melee and missile troops. Reload time reduction, lower beast cooldown, bonus versus large for all elf cav, and hawk rider and great eagles. Both of these are honestly fine. Wait, gain an additional +1 forest health for winning battles in magical forests or their heathlands. +1 is not a lot, admittedly, though. I'm gonna say start with Vol, and just for the armor for the elf infantry. On the other hand, raising settlements might be happening a little bit more. No, you know what? Let's go for Ellen and Lord of Destruction. We are trying to save up a massive amount of cash after all, and we probably don't want to be recruiting anymore. All right, Orion, stay where you are. Let's start going through Wonders of the Forest for the additional post-battle loot. And Dodan, you're going to get Eye of Kurnus, which will buff a little bit all the range units that are near you, or at least within 40 meters. And we can get Sight Beyond Sight on Orion himself, but it might be wasteful if we get it on Dodan, so we might not as well. Anyway, ooh, hello. Trade agreements with all the other wood elves, that's what we want? Yes. Start getting friendlier with these guys, at least until we confederate them. Like so, and not so much for Torgavon, but I'm sure he'll ask eventually. Alright, and Karak Norn, we are not piecing out with you. Frankly, Durthu, you need to kill them faster. Nobody at Gristle Valley, eh? I wonder if Tusks do anything for us. Apparently, they provide high elves plus 30% research, but the wood elves don't seem to care about them. Alright, well, I guess we're going next turn then. Well, let's say Mr. Dar is going to attempt to attack us. But whether he does or he doesn't, most likely he will fail. I assume he can't reach the Oak of Ages from here. Hey, there you go, Durthu taking the Grim Hold, and Gristle Valley taken by Belagar. Interesting. Inevitable that we get into a war with Belagar as well, especially with him surrounding us as he does. But that's fine. We also need to get that alliance going with Durthu, because it looks like the Heathlands are... Interesting. When Durthu takes them because he's not allied, it doesn't power up the Oak of Ages, even though I feel like it should, you know. Summer Solstice means the hunt slumbers, which is a shame, but what can you do? Now, at last, the wild hunt is over and Athel Loren rests once again. The power of Kurnus flowed through the wild riders and all who joined the hunt in the forest's name. The pace was furious, the hunt charging along hidden paths and through the usually gentle glades. Any creatures unlucky enough to be caught were shown no mercy, their deaths serving as a noble sacrifice to Orion's ageless grandeur. Alright, I guess we'll go into the forest calls. Oh, he's probably gonna run, isn't he? I like to bet he'll run. Anyway, Deluric. Oh, I wanted to see. Ambush success. Growth of the forest. Nothing for recruitment, unfortunately. I was hoping that we could use you as a recruiter because you might have a recruitment reduction, but I don't see anything of that nature here. Which is a shame. But who knows, maybe the regular Glade Lords have that ability. Still, the growth might still be of use to us here. At least in the early game. Anyway, you are going to reinforce. And Orion, you're going to attack Dar. Let's see if Dar stays or goes. He will go. Okay, you better not around... Okay. Okay, we can still reach him. Good. It does mean trespassing on the crags of Findal, but I don't think we can avoid it now, unfortunately. Wait. If you go here, can you still reinforce? I think not. Maybe from this side? I mean, you're just here to leech XP, so it doesn't really matter. Frankly, considering you're costing us 300 gold per turn, we might actually want to delete you. Yeah, trespassing, I know, game, I know. And that probably counts as double trespassing, all to kill Mr. Dar. Ooh, he's got a giant, this, and he's a Doombull himself as well. Yes, good. Good. Well, this should be fun. We're going to obviously fight this cinematically. Go.
Winter comes to all!
Alright, here we go. A lovely Athel Loren territory, or edge of Athel Loren territory by the looks of it. We do see the wood elven waystones all over the place, but obviously we're not in the thick of the forest here. Anyway, we're going to start the battle with a little bit of range action. On the right side, we have deployed our unit of Deepwood Scouts with the goal of trying to destroy these Centaurs before they can do anything, specifically before they can charge into our rear lines. This is also the debut of the regular Glade Guard, who are a lot more lightly armored than the Deepwood Scouts, and much more appropriate because of their 15 armor as well. I do wonder if there is any... I was wondering whether there's any significant difference between the Starfire Shafts and the Hagbane Tubs, but by the looks of it, there isn't. Anyway, the enemy army will move towards us. We're going to pop those Hounds of Kurnos in the pile of enemy Gores, but it looks like with them Gores having their shields up, plenty of them are likely to reach our line. Same thing goes for the enemy Harpies by the looks of it, and our Eternal Guard will have their work cut out for them as they get charged by all those Beastmen. Don't underestimate even basic Beastmen forms, as they have plenty of speed and charge bonuses on them, and they can certainly dish out damage if they are let do so. They also have a Beastman Giant with them who's going to wade on in, and we do have to watch out for the Beastman Giant dishing out damage to our Wild Riders. And by the looks of it, the charge from all of those Beastmen is sending several of our units of Eternal Guard packing. 2 units have dropped down to about 30% of their HP. These guys are down to 50% as well, and just like that, 4 units of our Eternal Guard aren't really in on the action. On the bright side, though, our range line is still just fine, and the enemy range line very much not, as the Wild Riders have been taking care of them in the back line. I suppose one minor issue, if it can be called that, with the Wood Elves and with the sort of Wild Rider-centric army that Orion has and will continue to have throughout the campaign, is going to be the fact that they will generally make battles relatively quick. They are very fast-moving and high-damage-dealing units themselves, after all. Anyway, we're backing away with our archers and trying to hose down the enemy Beastman Giant. The enemy Lord is still in the midst of a duel with Orion, which has been occurring for pretty much the entire battle, as the enemy Lord charged through our melee line and moved to attack our range line, and Orion had to be the one to deal with him right after. Certainly a clash of the Titans and Orion of a size with the enemy Doombull here, which is pretty impressive. Anyway, the enemy Giant will break, and it looks like the Gores do not manage to break through our Eternal Guard, just barely managing to hold on. And with these guys, but still, it's managing to hold on after all. Orion will bring down the enemy Doombull, and with that, the battle will be ours. Once again, of course, we got to give the battle or the MVPs to all of those Wild Riders. Even as the Eternal Guard were running, the Wild Riders were able to rack up a significant amount of kill counts to make sure that the Gores and Ungores failed to breach the remnants of the line. Down goes the Giant, and will do no chasing, or at least no need to do any, as the enemy army already ran once, and thus will be completely destroyed. Alright, a fun fight. The Eternal Guard, however, did rout a lot earlier than I might have otherwise expected them to. Their line broke much faster, it felt, than the enemy Gore line did, which is kind of interesting to see. Fortunately, though, once again, we had the Wild Riders as ringers. Orion spent the entire time in dueling the enemy Lord as well, and frankly I forgot about the reinforcing Lord, but whatever, all good. And of course the range units did range damage as well. Kind of interesting that the poison and the fire symbols are gone from this particular menu, but I suppose that doesn't really matter. I guess we'll take the money. We're not in our own territory, but we're not so hurt that we probably shouldn't take the money, so money we shall take. The enemy army is destroyed and this forest encounter is complete. Orion, if you switch to March stance, you can get into the Oak of Ages and not stay in this territory. And you can move away here as well. Sorry about the trespassing, buddy, but it had to be done. War Dancer Drummer for you, enemy killed in battle. No level up for Deluric, unfortunately, but we do got one on Orion, which means more wonders of the forest. Waystalker, you're up next, and I guess we'll get you the Endless Hunters for reload time reduction plus 15% during forest battles for the entire hero army. Yes. Oh my. These guys might jump over and go to us if we're not careful. Gotta be careful about that. Maybe declaring war on them wasn't the brightest of moves, but I suppose we'll see. Reichland we will peace out with for now. Or not peace out with, non-aggression. And, I mean, Druther doesn't hate them. He's not super fond of them being friendly with Carrick Ziplin, but for now we'll ignore that. In the recent sort of campaigns I've run, Reichland has always been destroyed, or the Empire in general has pretty much always been destroyed, so we'll keep that in mind. Alright, gotta try to get to rank 10, or not rank 10, to turn 10, so we'll end the turn again. I don't think I've forgotten anything, and if I did, it's too late. I also would like to see whether Carcassonne is now at war with the Broken Axe. We should knock them out ASAP. To sort of make the area, maybe not safe, but at the very least safer. And I do wonder where Durthu is going. Decent likelihood he'll try to attack the Empire again, but hopefully he'll content himself with fighting Carrick Ziflin and Clan Angrand as well. Alright, nobody attacked us. Some more declarations somewhere, but not relevant to us either. You, my friend, will go through to Quenelle, I guess. I mean, we could go past it. And in fact, we could go significantly past it, and we are trying to get to Massive Forecale, so we should probably do so. You will go back to Kingsglade there, Deloric. Oh, are you going to trespass again? Did I just trespass again? No, okay. I got worried about that for a second, but it looks like we're okay. No trade agreement as yet, and no other anythings as yet either. Still not at war with anybody, eh? Alright, I'll just keep ignoring you for now then. Buildings, nothing to build either, so I guess that's another quick end turn. We could recruit more stuff, but I think we'll wait. We are a teensy bit of gold away from upgrading the Glade to level 2. We could get rid of the Celithoid Gallery as well to replace with more growth. These things will all need growth after all. And we won't need the Eternal Guard again for a bit. I always replace it. Yeah, delete this for now. And I still want to keep an eye out on the different lords though. I think they still haven't been milled. I don't know how long it takes for them to be replaced then. I guess we'll see, and you're still the Sylvan Soothsayer, right? Alright, and let's end the turn for now. Orion, you're gonna head to the Massive Forecale. Let us see if Grommy is gonna come back here. Oh, I didn't check whether he was at war with Carcassonne. And I know it looks like he's continuing to move up north. I think he's taken Mousillon all the way up there, but it leaves Massive Forecale completely undefended, effectively. Which means he's going to sacrifice his capital for, well, nothing, really. Alright, demolition completes Celithoid Gallery. We will build this. Well, wait. I mean, spring is the best time to build because of the recruit or the construction cost reduction, but it'll be a long time until then, so I think we won't bother. You're gonna go into Trapper's Den for the additional growth, and then we'll... It's only 10 growth. Instead, we can make our money back using the grapevines. It's gonna take 8 turns to do this anyway. On the other hand, we'll still need the growth. But then again, it's only 10 growth. But then again, our growth is so little. Yeah, fine, go for the Trapper's Den. And we'll do the Glade. And there goes all our cash. Alrighty, Orion. You can Reach mass 4 yes. Are these guys at war with Carcassonne? They are indeed. Ooh, we got islands back here. If we could a single skull island would fund our entire tier 2 for our oak. But I see no skull islands. I mean, it was pretty unlikely that there would be one here, but who knows? Anyway, to massive 4 ye shall go. And I see no Grommy there. Alright, decisive victory, low casualties, but how low are we talking? I wonder, do we risk taking the damage? Alright, I'll risk it. Let's hope... I'm very worried about the Wild Riders, but... man, we'll find out. Alright, lots of damage to the infantry, but the Wild Riders are okay, which is the main thing. And I think we'll save it. Raise. We don't really need to stay back here and... no. Really, we're gonna suffer attrition? From the mountain pass. Huh, I guess I should have occupied it after all. We're gonna take damage and take additional damage from the attrition. Well, screwed that one up. Screwed that one up. Oh well. What can you do? More wonders of the forest, I guess. Sorry about that, Orion, and, well, more so your army. And you, I guess, can have Fleet Finger? Maybe? Gotta get to Prey of Anathema anyway. Stop jerks in their tracks. You can have Reaching Tendrils, and we'll try to go for growth over the forest. At least you're leveling to a minor degree. And should any of the orcs or anybody else come down, we'll use you to defend or help defend. Oh, the garrison is basically non-existent. We're gonna have to hang around here for a bit until we deal with that.
What do you need?
Alright, nothing interesting diplomacy-wise, though. Wait. Anybody else we may want to declare war on? Who is Visenland at war with? The Deceivers? No, I don't want to deal with them. You're at war with the Scaling. Yeah, sure, we can declare war on the Scaling. Why not? Military access? Sure, why not? Just hoping that Durthu doesn't hate you too much. If they survive, they'll make for a good trading partner, though, so, yeah. Angren Ziflin will ignore, Shadowgave will ignore, and then continue ignoring everybody. That puts us to another 76 free gold per turn due to the additional war declaration. Alright, the rest of this can end turn, and we will proceed to Aquitaine. I'd love to get one big battle against Mr. Grommy if we can manage it before the end of this episode. Frankly, I'd love to knock his faction out for good, but I'm not sure whether that's too tall an order. Although, I suppose if he's sitting on board low, it looks like he... did he lose Mousillon, maybe? Gotta double check who's at war with. If he's fighting somebody like the Barrow Legion as well, which is a distinct possibility... well, then he may very well have. Hardenberg gives us armor for non-elf units, charge bonus, more charge bonus. We don't have a caster here, and speed for all elf units and characters. With the vigor loss reduction minus 25%, which counteracts the vigor loss from that thing we have. On the other hand, more charge bonus. You know what? Screw it. More charge bonus. Sacrifice. At the height of the forest's power, a sacrifice must be offered to strengthen the weave and reaffirm the bond between Azrae and Spirit. In return, the forest will offer a boon. Choose wisely. Sacrifice it is. Alright, Confederation, Reichland and Middenland, and Visenland and Stirland. Another forest encounter already. Damn. But this... I think this isn't an army one? I mean, you could go here and find it. Oh, this is in Torgavon's territory. Oh, for the love of... they keep popping up in places where we don't have military access. It's kind of irritating. But what can you do? Either way, Orion, you cannot reach Aquitaine, so you're going to go into a camp stance. You're going to go here, heal up a bit. You know what, I shouldn't have auto-resolved. And I should have occupied this, because we're going to be damaged for a long time now. You know what we need? We need to perform one of these rites, namely Larime and the constant casualty replenishment rate that we get from it. Well, let's hope that we can get to it. Deluric, stay where you are. Diplomacy, once again, double check. And yes, I will be repeatedly checking diplomacy every turn as much as possible. Sometimes several times per turn, because I'm paranoid. Ooh, we can build the Hawk Riders now, but they're a little bit on the expensive side. We will build them, but in a bit. let's end the turn for now and move towards Aquitaine and see whether Grom the Paunch is available to fight. It would be nice to kill him, though. Usually his defeat rate is no big deal. It's plus 10... it's plus 10 relationship with... Ah, there he is. Plus 10 relationship with High Elves. He's got a decent army. We're heavily damaged. On the other hand, we are in camp stance, which should help us out. I'm sure we'll be fine. Let's get to it.
Ever onward!
We call upon the blessing of the ancients.
Ever onward indeed, and away we go towards the enemy army, deployed and waiting for their reinforcements. Now, I will grant there are not a lot of enemy units in this particular little force, but we nonetheless should try to destroy them before Grommy arrives on the field. Do as much damage as we can before he does. So, we'll move forward with Orion and our range units, who will begin trying to focus down the enemy lord, and as soon as the enemy lord has peeled away from all of those units, having taken hopefully tons of damage, both from Orion and from the other range units. I do enjoy watching him chuck that spear. And fire away. How are we doing? Enemy Lord is down by about 25% of its HP and is annoyed, sufficiently by the looks of it annoyed, to start moving towards us and thus allow us to charge on in with all of those wild riders. Ride those Gobbo archers and arrow boys down and try to destroy them before Grom the Paunch and makes it onto the field. Alright, very, very nice. Absolute havoc. Gobbos flying every which way. The occasional spear coming down, though it looks like Grom has arrived. A Spirit Leech coming in from his River Troll Hag will hit one of the Wild Riders, who, by the looks of it, don't have any missile resistance. And they do have 35% ward save, though, so... Or not missile resistance, spell resistance. So, still have to watch out. The enemy lord is still attempting to close the distance. Poison from... What is actually poisoning him? Oh, Dodan the Waystalker is poisoning him. He does have his shield up, but whether that's able to block Orion, I'm not entirely sure. He'll be about 40% of his HP by the time he makes it towards our lord here. And I'm sure we'll be able to get a few whacks, and oh my lord, Orion is so huge he makes an Orc War Boss look tiny. Tiny by comparison, and the Orc War Boss will flee in terror as well, only to presumably get chased down by the Wild Riders. It looks like that River Troll Hag is trying to move towards us. We activate once again our Gehenna's Golden Hounds, or the Hounds of Kurnus, whatever. And that'll wreak a fearsome tally amongst the Gobbos, I'm sure. And looks like Grom the Paunch has arrived, only to immediately get completely surrounded both by Orion as well as our Wild Riders, trapped amongst the trees and pretty much brought down. There is nothing he can do. He certainly isn't escaping this on that big old chariot, which is far too slow compared to the Wild Riders, who are pretty fantastic at dishing out damage to big old targets like this. There we go. Now we can peel away as the enemy main stack, or the main portion of the enemy army, gives chase to us. And then we can also chase down these snotling pump wagons with spiky rollers, as they are by far the biggest threat on the field. They dish out enough damage to even be a threat to the Wild Riders, I believe. I don't know whether they brought any down, but they certainly did damage to the unit that was chasing them. So, good job to the spiky rollers, but they've always been a very strong unit, especially for their cost. Anyway, with Grom destroyed, his reinforcing army destroyed, and a few isolated units dealt with as well, we are going to back off towards our main line. Of course, we are still damaged, but not so damaged that our range fire can't obliterate a few units before they reach our our lines. Fire, poison, magical damage all coming down on those river trolls who aren't happy about it at all and will back away rather than continuing to approach our line. Not to worry, the enemy has plenty more units to run into our arrows and will certainly oblige. Alright, let's see if the enemy can reach our lines this time around, but the enemy still has to be concerned about the Wild Riders still causing havoc in their back lines. The enemy Goblin Rocklobber has been destroyed by one, the enemy Giant River Troll Hag being chased down and will, by the looks of it, and be destroyed by another, and then the third chasing enemy range units down as well. We really had to make sure that we destroyed that River Troll Hag, as of course, if we did not, she would have cast another Spirit Leech or two and would have either brought down more Wild Riders or continued to damage Orion, who got hit by it as well. And he's in pretty bad shape at this point, so gotta try to get him some regeneration as fast as we can. Healing potion or a potion of toughness at the very least. But once again, I do think a mage, a spellweaver of life would be real nice. Anyway, enemy still has failed to reach our lines. Every enemy that does manage to get rather close pretty much gets destroyed before they do, but it looks like these orc spears and these orc spears are the ones that get the closest to actually dishing out some damage. Not a lot though, as they will shatter, and another unit attempts to take their place. We are still obliterating range units in the back line as well, though of course the Orc Arrow Boys fight a little bit harder, but also fly just as far as the Goblin Archers. And yeah, fight a little harder in melee, I mean, the Orc Arrow Boys. Although not so well as to be able to deal with the Wild Riders. Anyway, looks like another unit of trolls, stone trolls, this time attempts to make their way forward, but it looks like they take a massive amount of damage, just stopping short of the wall of elven spears. Now these guys will book it on out of there, and with that the enemy army will shatter. Grom has been destroyed, and by the looks of it, with his main stack fallen, I don't imagine that his faction will be able to recover. At the very least, I doubt that he has two, and he's also lost his capital, so recovering the stacks will be all that much more difficult. Lovely. Well done again, Orion, and well done once again to the Wild Riders for causing absolute havoc in the background. Alrighty, sorry Mr. The Punch, but you've got to ride a little wilder than that if you want to keep up with Orion. I got a free gold sigil sword, nothing great in terms of items really so far. Pretty terrible item luck, which for example compared to the Imric campaign where we had fantastic item luck is... well, a pretty big difference, but all good. We'll take abduct captives for the army replenishment, however, as well we certainly need more healing, and we may want to auto-resolve Aquitaine, though I'm concerned at the idea. Oh, Enchantress is going to move up there. I wonder if we can leave her to her own devices and... let her take Aquitaine and Bordelot. They have lost their main stacks and they are at war. We can. Looks like Bordelot is in fact under siege. You know what, Orion? I think you're good. We'll move you back instead of the forest encounter here. Looks like we can hit Quinnell. Actually, our world routes doesn't go as far as our regular stance, but that's fine. Also, do we have a channeling stance available? Oh! The Wood Elves don't have a channeling stance, and they don't channel via raiding either, so we have no additional way to regain our mana. Well, that's not great. That's real interesting. Unless mages have to... What the heck is this? Why are you here? Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I was wondering if we had a channeling variant available to... specifically to... Spellweavers, but it doesn't look like it. Huh. Well, that's kind of odd. because they're elves, and you know they pretty good at the magic thing. Odd. Anyway, more answer drummer, a Weight Watcher. There we go. The 10 Diplo with high elves is great. Potentially, since we'll be trading with many of them, I'm sure the causes terror against greenskins, however, is fairly useless. Deep Roots available. We've reached turn 10, which is important for a number of reasons, and which I wanted to get to at the start of this episode. Oh, we have these available. Or we could ignore it and continue moving towards possibly Perenniality and Quartermaster. Especially if we want to get those... Ooh, wait, how many turns would it take to... Okay, wait, let's move regular stance. How many turns would it take to recruit these? 2, right? We could recruit the Hawk Riders before we move.
Ready to
And there's certainly potential for it. There are 4 of them. It'll take 2 turns to recruit. We could delete some of these, or maybe not even delete them, but just take them. Anyway, what I want to do is this. First of all, to double check. Oh, wait, no, we shouldn't do it yet. We need to wait until the hunt is back up, meaning we need to wait until next turn to use the Deep Roots. Meaning, can you go back here? Let me see if I can get this correctly. Because we need to take some of Orion's troops, although I suppose we could also recruit somebody to do it. Though that'll be more costly. Ugh. Leadership, terrible, terrible trait. This one, however, 30% speed for Way Watchers, I do like that. We've already seen this on range, plus 50 for a single lord, kind of nothing crazy so far out of these guys, I would say. And there we go. Lore of Life with Warden of the Weald. That's what we wanted. And I guess we will get you Battle Healing Cap plus 30%. Trellon. We'll get you on the field. Then we will take... Frankly, I'm kind of inclined to delete the 2 Eternal Guard with spears. Take 2 of the arrows of each kind. Like so. And then we'll delete you 2. No shields, yes problem. Delete you. Because it won't be useful. Then we will use Orion. Huh. I wonder if the Wild Hunt gives us additional recruitment capacity. Not capacity, but money. But anyway, I want to get the Hawk Riders. We'll transfer them to a different army later, but for now, we're good to go. Deloric, stay here. And Trellon, you're going to follow Orion. Alright, diplomacy. Alright, this is important. I was going to end the episode here, but I want to go to next turn to show you guys why. Can you do anything with this? You're at war with Disciples of the Maw, parts of Sartosa, and Topknots. Those are a little bit too close. Maybe not Topknots. We could join your war against Topknots, potentially. They're kind of far. Let's do it. Join war against Topknots. For money. Yes. Alright, and the others anybody who's too close to us, essentially, we want to avoid. But that's why we want to go to the next turn. So, garrison, unassigned skill points, whatever, skip all of that. We will ignore it. We'll end the turn. And the Wild Hunt should pop back up unless I'm mistaken. I probably should have moved Deloric here so that we could... whatever. It'll be fine. I think. And hope and pray. And also hope that Aquitaine will in fact wipe out the Broken Axe. If they don't, we'll have to come back here and deal with it ourselves. Alright, the hunt is on, so... Yeah, okay, this doesn't do anything for our recruitment. We will, however, give this a read. Orion, King in the Woods and Master of the Wild Hunt, is reborn anew. On the eve of the vernal equinox, the elite Wild Riders select a candidate to bear the mantle of the immortal Elven King for for the year ahead. Elven year? All years are elven years. Ask Emmerich. Now that Queen Ariel has done her secret work, Orion storms back into the world once more. As ever, he immediately calls a wild hunt to clear the forest of undesirable outsiders. The herald of the hunt sounds the horn, signaling the elves and forest spirits to fight in Athel Loren's defense. A primal urge to expel the forest's enemies that none can ignore. So, well, Eleanor, Lord of Destruction, that's all fine. You're going to be recruiting for another turn. This is what we want to do. So, the deep roots are now available, and the wild hunt removes the 10-turn cooldown, which is the normal cooldown, meaning we can do this. Unless I'm mistaken, you are selected. Go here. Yes. Then go here. Yes, alright, this does work. Alright, go to every single one. Every single one, like so. Like so. Like so. Like so. And did I forget anyone? Like so, there we go. Jungles of Qian. Okay, I think that was all of them. Now go back to where we came from. Like so. And we can actually move here. Oh, I moved you to the Oak. That moved you to the Oak of Ages. Fantastic. Can we get that military X? Still no. Rude. Rude. All right. You're fighting the Western Provinces and the Golden Order, you say? You know what that tells me? Declare war. Alright, not trade, but declare war. Sorry, Burning Winds. They are trading the Celestial Loyalists and the Jade Custodians, but nonetheless, declare war. Beautiful. Alright, then. Back to diplomacy. Quick deal. Just quick deal for now. Ostermark is currently at war with the Great Orthodoxy, the Bone Rattlers, and Sylvania. Sure. You're at war with the Redhorn tribe, parts of Sartos. Alright, we'll talk to you briefly. I'm not going to do any pacts with you, but we will join your war against the pirates, no, the Redhorn tribe. For 2,000 gold. Alright, then... Let me just see here. The Lizardmen generally are reasonably fond of the Wood Elves, so Itza, you are currently at war with 3 factions. Declare war on all of them. And get the trade agreement going. Like so. Alright, you should be pretty happy with that. And Shalan Hopek, you're at war with the Awakened. Sure, why not? They're no threat to us. Oh. I didn't mean to declare war on you. I meant to join your war against the Awakened for a little bit of cash. Alright, beautiful, beautiful. What about you, Wardens of the Living Pools? You're not at war with anybody. Okay, anybody else nearby? Defenders of the Great Plan, you're at war with the Eastern River Lords and the Jade Custodians. I don't know how the rest of them will feel about that. The Eastern River Lords will be destroyed. I don't know about the Jade Custodians, though. Nonetheless, join war against the Eastern River Lords and the Jade Custodians? Let's just do the Eastern River Lords, because I've never seen those guys survive. Alright, that's another war declaration. Beautiful. Last Defenders, currently at war with Court of Libaras and Clan Morbidus. Why not? I don't know whether we actually want to declare war on Court of Libaras, but Clan Morbidus, we can do that. Alright, this is all giving us money in addition to all of this. Alright, Daughters of the Forest, currently at war with Drekla Coven, Bleakholds, and Sildra Tor. You know what, we should take a look at the other Wood Elf factions nearby. Let me just see here. Wood Elf should be at the end. Fecondites, currently at war with a bunch of Imperial factions. We should declare war on them. Talk to, I don't know, Nordland. Join war against Fecondites. Not willing to trade, that's fine. We'll take the cash. Then, where the heck are the Wood Elves? Did we not travel to the Witchwood? I swear we traveled to the Witchwood. Yeah, we did.
Speak quickly.
Is it listed as... Oh, the Wood Elves are at the top. Okay, that's why. Yeah. I was expecting them to be at the bottom. You're at war with Drekla Coven, Bleakholds, etc. Take
will cooperate.
free money. Thank you, and even more money afterwards. Wargrove of Woe, you're currently at war with Karekadrin and Ostland. We can ignore those for now, just to not piss off the Imperials. This is fine. Arguelon, you're at war with Angrid now. We'll let that happen. Bowmen of Orion are at war with Drekla. Wait, that's the Drakenhof Conclave, so we'll declare war on you. Like so. Alright, Athel Loren currently at war with nobody. Spirits of Shanlin at war with nobody. Warhead of the Shadow Gave we can ignore for now. Carcassonne at war with these two, which we're already at war with. Meston's at war with the Barrow Legion, but they're too close to us, so we'll ignore them right now. Let's talk to Athel Loren and initiate diplomacy, and we'll join your war against the Scourge of Cain and the Cult of Excess, but we'll ignore the Seducers of Slaanesh because they're right beside us. We'll ask for a trade agreement. Like so. Good. Russ is currently at war with Cult of Excess, Seducers of Slaanesh, and Skullcrag. Yeah, we can declare war on Skullcrag, why not? Won't give us a trade agreement, but we can start getting friendly with you. We'll probably send an army or two to bail you out as well. Good. Alright, what else do we have? Illyrian... No, you're at war with Etain and the Dread Fleet. We don't... Wait, Calidor? I think we'll ignore that. We're at war with all of these guys with the exception of Soldier Tor, which we can declare war on. Like so. Alright, anybody else? Anybody else? Scaling, we're at war with Poxmakers of Nurgle. Probably going here next. At war with Goldtooth. Okay, you know what? We'll save that for a bit. Clan Scryer, Clan Treacherik is at war with a bunch of factions. We'll just straight up declare war on you. Alright, and diplomacy. Anybody else that we want to directly declare war on? Caravan of Blue Roses, yes, we will declare war on you in a second. The rest of this is fine. We'll ignore the Deceivers. Are we at war with the Creeping Death? We are not, but we should be. Basically, we at war with all the orcs. Declare war. Alright, now. There we go, we're up to 3.7k gold per turn. It'll drop a little bit once we have the Hawk Riders in here, but that's a pretty significant change, and is very important to us as well. Now, Deluric, I'd like you to go to this forest encounter briefly. Sorry about the trespassing, but what can you do? Can you march stance here?
Make haste.
Let's find out. See what this does for us. Unhappy Tree Spirits, growth and control loss. Plus 40 relations with Bretonia. Abundant growth, Bretonians punished. Diplomatic relations, you will face a foe in battle. You know what, I think we'll decide later. We'll do the face a foe in battle, but we'll do it with Orion. I didn't think that there would be a foe here because it didn't have like a, you know, you have to go there. Alright, fine. Decide later. We want the growth. Go back.
Garlanded with flowers.
In fact, you should go back to Kingsglade, but I guess you'll do that next turn. Orion will go here instead, and I'm hoping that he can do it while jumping. Trellan, you can return to Kingsglade. You will most likely have to get a new army up and running. Well, technically you'll be following Orion, but he'll need to be in... Yeah. Alrighty, now, as I recall, the Haunted Forest is the place we want to go because the Nobler Outpost gives us 250 generation of income. Allegiance points with ogres, immunity to vampiric attrition, income from trade tariffs, and hero capacity +1 for all heroes. This one's fantastic. I don't know if it's the best one, but it's very, very good. The Jungles of Qian one gives us upkeep production for Forest Spirits as well, which is also really, really strong, but we're not using them as yet, which is why we can forego it for now. Anyway, and while that is a lot of money, it also costs a lot of money to get the Oak of Ages up and running, so we'll wait for that. We will, however, select a technology, and it will be... reload time reduction for all range units, which we are using in fair numbers in the early game. We'll do a little bit more melee heavy in this campaign than just all range, like war dancers and cab and all that sort of fun stuff. Not just all range. Anyway, folks, with that, I think, well, I guess we can end the turn. When can we pop these? So, right, the season of frost and caution begins. Is it when summer is? Oh, midwinter rights disabled. Alright, let's pop this and see what happens. Just curious. And hey, who knows, maybe declare war on a few more factions. Well, you know what, maybe I'll declare war on a few more factions between the episodes, but just more and more wars means less upkeep, which means more armies. Which means we should probably try to find a few more factions to declare war upon. It may behoove us to get a few heroes up and running, just to send them all over the map and get vision. As I think that'll be the way to do it. Autumn approaches. The songs of spring have gone, replaced with new music, rustling leaves in the chilly wind, chirping hedge crickets, and the howling of wild beasts lamenting summer's passing. And win one battle against the bowmen of Orion will confederate the bowmen of Orion. Huh. Guess we could go here first. We got 4 more turns of the hunt. Cousins in Arms. Confederate Loren by winning a battle against Norska. Confederate the Spirits of Shanlin by winning a battle against Grand Cathay. Research Technologies, and that's it, and still no on the rights. I guess we're waiting until next season for the rights then. Oh, was it summer? Was I supposed to use the rights in the summer? Wait, no, it was just summer. It is midwinter rights, meaning we are most likely having to use them in winter. Alright, fair enough. Still really want the casualty replenishment rate. But anyway, folks, with that, I am going to have to call this first episode here. It's gone on long enough. I'm happy with the way the way it's been going so far, this campaign, I mean. Reasonably good. Next time, we'll grab this forest encounter real quick, and then we'll send Orion to the Oak of Ages, and then down to one of these places. I'm still tempted to go to the Haunted Forest, but it depends on how much time we have remaining, as it may be better to come down to Orion's camp and then confederate them real quick, or one of the other confederations, and then go back to this one afterwards. Certainly potential. We gotta remember also that we only have 1 army at this point, so we won't be able to attack 2. Ooh, and we will be able to get the Oak of Ages up and running to next turn or so, which will also mean potential for Confederation missions for these 2. Which will mean more income, and we can steal their armies as well, so that's good as well. Anyway, more Orion to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.